It's a little bit more engaging that way, I think. So, um, all right, and I'll double check OBS. Are we recording? We are currently good. Okay. Welcome everyone to the third Pillars talk. And today I just wanted to talk about some of the ways that you can help work for the game to earn adventure points. Um, and of course, for regular players, we're going to cover that first, I think. For regular players, the requirements are to do a 2-hour monster shift, and that's just to make sure that our game, flows and we have monsters for everybody to fight. So we just cycle through people. It's only 2 hours out of your whole weekend, and you do get, that the first couple of points towards your experience points that you could spend on your build. So you get that. And if you can't fight and can't do monstering, then we may have like additional. Well, we definitely have the kitchen option, so you can do tavern stuff, and a couple of people already opted to do that. They really want to be a barmaid or like a tavern sergeant. This is just like helping to cook, and so that's an option. And as we get rolling along, we might have other opportunities, like we need help setting up this crazy mod, and things like that are less combat-y. So we'll see how that goes. But those are the two primary options initially, as monstering or kitchen duty. Of course, players are all going to be expected to clean up after themselves, and you'll need to. We'll do cleanup on Sunday before we leave site. So we'll need hands, like everybody police your own cabins and help with the common areas, things like that, just common sense stuff. So that's the regular stuff. Now there's also some other options, like a full-time NPC. So the full-time NPC or monstering. That's, you have a question in the chat. Actually, I should have the chat open. Oh yeah. We've seen longer hour shifts as well. So 2 hours is what we're requiring. We'll go up or down. I mean, well, 2 hours is probably the minimum, but we could go up eventually. But nah, I mean, this is good. We're gonna see if we get enough coverage monster wise that we need. And let's see. All right, I now have chat open, so I won't take that long next time. The full-time NPC and monstering we were talking about, there are some additional requirements, because of course you'd be doing that for the whole event. You'd be getting some additional AP points for like the hours that you're putting in, though. And you could put that towards build, or you could put that towards the adventure points shop that we will have in future, but we don't have for the beta. So that's a way to get magic items or components and other things like that, that you could buy out of play with adventure points. But these other requirements are that you know your heritage, so you know that lore packet pretty well for whichever is the heritage of your NPC. So you'd plan that in advance. You'd pick out who you're going to be, because as a NPC, you're going to be not the epitome of what your race represents, heritage represents, but like you're a good example of your species for other players. You're really repping that. And you need to know the combat system and combat language. And that knowledge is just to increase the chance that if you're asked something by someone that you're fighting with, like a newbie. We're all newbies at the start, but at least by knowing the combat system and language as well as you can, it means that if you're asked something, it increases the chance that you're able to answer it, right? Also, you have attended at least one practice session prior to game. And we're rolling up on 2 weeks before game. I don't know if we're going to have any more, like, any we won't have time probably for any official practice sessions. Um, but if you're not an orange headband NPC or monster and you're trying to do full time, then that'd be a requirement. So maybe in September, if you're trying to do full time NPC and monster, we could try and get either you've attended an event and you've literally tried it at the event and you've tried out the combat system so you're a bit familiar, or we could do a practice session sometime in between so that, for like September you could monster or NPC. If you're orange headband, like 'cause we do have some people working in the tavern who are orange headbanding, um, combat isn't relevant to you, so maybe you don't need to have practiced that. So we're kind of waiving that a little bit. But you still need to have read the rules, and you need to have read the combat even. But, that's not necessarily something you try out. And your NPC at that point is like roleplay only. So we also want you to know a little bit of world lore. I mean, just anything that's out there on the social media that we've already put out there or the website. Or be able to make up stuff off the cuff just so that you can roleplay. We want all of our NPCs to be kind of living creatures that players and their characters can interact with. And there's an expectation, other NPCs, basically us admins or other storytellers, may ask you to take some items and hold them and hand them out, or drop particular info or quest hooks, That's expected, right? That makes sense. So, is there anything that you want to ask about full-time monster or NPC kitchen? Does that make sense? Cool. Okay. um, so, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I see. Like, are you a mini boss? Where's something? Um, yeah. Okay. If yeah, no, it'd be largely grunt monstering, and we might, if you get bored, then we could throw you out as an NPC. Like, go drop this quest hook for me. Spend an hour role playing in town or something like that. Um, we might also, we might send you out as a boss or a mini boss or like something with bigger stats. We'd thoroughly prep you that for that though, right? Yeah, we'd give you. We have a whole back end documentation of what our monsters are going to be statted as and what they should look like and how many people should be able to take a particular monster, so that we can kind of on the cuff we know what to tell you that you are and what your abilities are going to be, what your HP and armor is going to be like as a particular monster. So yeah, I mean, we definitely it'd be a lot of grunts, right? Because we even have, I think we're planning to even have groups of grunt monsters just kind of around during the day to entertain people in between mods and stuff. Just like so, there's stuff to do, right? Yeah. So yeah, we've got wandering monsters. We've got lots of mods going on. So you could get pulled with four other people and be like, hey, you guys come do this mod for me, and then you'd have a particular task and might even have particular things on that mod that you need to pay attention to and do, even as a grunt monster. We're trying to make it entertaining to play from all angles as much as possible, but grunt monsters are grunt monsters to a certain degree. So, yeah, but there's a potential of changing it up. So, yeah. All right. Some other stuff that you can earn points doing, uh, and we don't have it exactly worked out like a money to points ratio yet, but like we can always use packets, especially as a get up and go asset creation right now. I think our next one of the things that we're going to be looking at next is making buttloads of packets. um, Basic solid colored tabards are always welcome if you're a particularly fabric crafty person. Um, just like a base color, and if you need to know what colors we're in need of. Just ask, if we'll be more than happy to put you work. And then there's more complex tabards. If you are a fabric crafty person that wants a little bit more of a challenge, I actually have blueprints that I've made. I made a bunch of diagrams as I was making the first set of faction tabards, so that you could do something a little more difficult, according to a diagram that has the measurements and all of that good stuff, with images and written text to describe how to make a faction tabard. So if that's interesting to you, then it's an option. There's also old gear recycling. So just in case you hadn't thought about it or weren't aware, we want to have a way to give or loan out gear to players. So we have some on hand that we're just going to have available that people can borrow, or they might be able to earn in game. That's just like, even if it's mundane and it just improves their kit, and like they're a newbie and they don't have like a bunch of money to throw at gear, it's a good way of obtaining stuff. So like we might have an NPC merchant or the Baccaran might just have some gear laying around that they can strap on to newbies and be like, there you go. Yeah, you look cooler. Or you need a sword, here's a sword. Like, and they just get to borrow that. So if you ever have old gear that you're never going to use again and you need a clean out room in your costume closet, we'll be more than happy to take stuff like that off your hands. So just something to think about. Okay. I'll move on to the next topic unless there's questions on that. Mm-hmm. Cloth covers for weapons? Um, no tube weapons. So, yeah, no buffers. It's just EVA, latex, calimasil. We have the full list in the armory document if you need to see that. But yeah, no tube buffers here. That's for immersion, but mostly for safety. Yeah. Um. All right. So, opportunities to be a storyteller. So we wanted to give to enhance the game, to keep it from being just admins telling the stories, delivering mods. Even for the beta events, we actually have some friends and some attendees that are going to be storytellers. They're going to be largely their characters, but they are going to be running a couple of mods for us, just to help, fill in the gaps, flesh it out with more mods, more fun stuff to do for the other players to do. So if you ever have a story in mind, a particular mod, you think it's a really great idea, you want to run it by the admins, you want us to see it, and you want to run it yourself, we have mod templates, and so we would give you the mod template so that you can fill it out and submit it. We would look at it. We would work with you to pick we would first, decide whether it needs improvement or whether it approve or not approve it. And then if we like it and think it would work, we'll work with you to pick out a time slot that works with like our schedule for the event. We'd help you find a good time to run it, and then you can play. You can play your character most of the time. Then you can just duck out for that time slot and run your NPC and your mod. And there are many different types of mods or missions, and I'll go over a bunch of those in just a minute. So that's just like an idea that's out there. Something else you can do. I will talk about the types of mods now, actually. Alright, so we have NPC served mods. Those are ones that are like, you encounter an NPC in the world, and they're just hanging around town, chatting with you. And it might be like, you just chat, you role play, you perform a ritual, you play a game, like have arm wrestling contests, you get a little bit of money for winning, and that's it. Little brief interaction. So that's a type of mod. That's just like a, short one. Might take half an hour. Or there might be narrative-driven missions, and those are the ones that that I'm talking about when I say mod most of the time. But that's like, NPC comes to town. It's like, hey, I need this thing done, and it's over here. And so y'all leave town. You go on some narrative-driven mission out of town to go perform a particular task. Takes about 1 to 2 hours, and it may string into a storyline of several quests, or it might be a standalone, either or. So that's another way you might interact with NPCs and end up doing something fun. A lot of times those are spec'd for like 5 to 10 people, smaller groups. But then that means we can run them concurrently and we can have multiple things going on. So if you're not interested in one thing, you have something else to do. Then there's the bigger scale ones, right? We're just scaling up and up and up. And that's where most of the town gets together to perform a large-scale objective, like a whole battle or a skirmish or a larger RP conflict, something more major, and it may be part of, and usually is, part of a larger storyline. And those may take, again, 1 to 2 hours, but the big battles, we aimed for them to take about 2 hours. And those are the big deal, like whole town involvement. So, all right. The other types of mods are sort of self-served. We wanted to have some guided things to do that require admins and monsters and all that, but then some stuff that doesn't. It lightens the load on us, but continues to give y'all engaging content. So, these self-served mods may or may not even involve an NPC, and they may or may not be a hook to a bigger quest sometimes. So, say you encounter something strange in the woods, and you go report it to the Baccaran. That's it. You found the thing, you told the Baccaran, they gave you some money for the tip or whatever, or the item. You collected mushrooms, you found some cool stones with markings on them. But that could also springboard into something else. Like, I found this mark and I don't know what it means. Oh, cool. Well, I'm going to go with you and investigate. And then they run something with you, There's also contracts and other bulletins and stuff that might be tacked up on the board. I don't know if I think it's going to be outside the tavern. We may eventually have one inside the tavern too, but for now it's the one outside. So you might find a contract tacked up on the board that offers a reward in exchange of goods and services. So for those who are roleplay oriented, it might be something that you have to make or find. And for combat folks, it could be something that you find on an enemy. And you might have to keep your eyes peeled during every other mod and battle. It might be something that an enemy drops and you don't know when. You might know the type of enemy it's going to be dropped on. You might know to look out for a particular dude wearing a headband, and it's like, yeah, that guy, or that guy with that logo has an item I want, but he's a baddie, so you gotta kill him to get it, and then you turn that in to the designated person that posted the contract. There you go, contract fulfilled, and you get your money. And then, just like a more personal touch, an NPC asks you directly for something, like to go kill a specific monster or go steal this item from somebody else. So those are the various types of mods and levels of engagement. And that relates back to the storytelling offering, the types of things you can run. So if you wanting to be a storyteller and you have a cool idea, like I have a treasure map and I want to hide it, and that's it. I just want to bury some treasure and I want to put this map somewhere, and that's how I want to add to the game. And your level of investment is, you don't even have to NPC that, right? Just say you're going to turn this into the Baccaran and they'll get it to the requester. Or well, I said treasure map example, so that's just you find the thing on the map and you go dig it up and you get to keep it, right? So your level of investment is, you're gonna get up Saturday morning a little bit early and you're gonna go put the thing where you want it to go, and tack up the map, and that's it, right? So those kinds of missions would be easy to do. And then there's also running your own mod, you could try and spec something that you can run for an hour or two. Um, but yeah, we just have to vet it. We'd have to know you and have seen your mod so that we know what you're doing and have the chance to approve it. So, that's everything that I kind of wanted to talk about. So if anybody has any other questions, yeah, we'll chat a little more, and then that'll be our little half-hour topic. Faction colors? Oh, the diagrams that yeah, the diagrams for the factions. I don't have them posted yet. They're internal documents right now, but I'm gonna, if you're interested in being a fabric crafter, I'll have to figure out exactly how I'm gonna deliver those diagrams, but I certainly can share them at this point. I was just waiting until I got the orc diagram finished. But to see what they look like. Yeah. Okay. Well, we didn't have that really written anywhere. I have done some social posts of photos that we took in some of the factions that we finished. So yeah, those are on social media. Um, but if you mean the basic tabards as well, like those are just single solid colors basically. Okay, just the basic ones. Yeah, I don't have those posted anywhere either, but if you want a list, I can certainly get that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let me see. That's Veggie asking, or was that Aslan? Veggie. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let me just yeah, note that down. Veggie asked. Yeah. Are you a seamster?
Not really, but I would like to have some basic tavern. Maybe one day I'll be a seamster. But
Okay.
yeah, I like to add things to life.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize there was practice sessions.
Oh, no. We haven't had the time to really put together anything mass and general, like public available. Like that's something we want to do. Um, but yeah, we had some last year, I think. It was like before the website was created, before any of this was really together. Yeah, we've been heavily focused on asset creation, and that's where a lot of our time is going. Eric has been, working on the app real hard, and yeah, so we haven't had the time to have any large scale practices. That's kind of what the beta games are going to end up being. So
I know I haven't let you guys borrow them or bring them to the events to use. I guess I just need a way to mark them.
yeah, I don't know if yeah, I mean something like that. It might be useful for one-off unique monsters, but if it's a borrow thing and not a giving you this thing, I don't know if I would, because stuff could get damaged, anything could happen to it. Yeah, once it's in Monster Town, it could be lost forever. So you have to like be prepared to let go. So I don't know if I would, but if you were going to come in and like say, you've been to 3 events and you feel pretty solid about how things are going, and you want to run like an hour-long mod for us, and you want a particular unique monster like a cryptid, and you just want it to look a particular way, and you have a tabard that matches that vision, then, it'd be useful for something like that. But yeah. Appreciate the thought, though. Okay. That's all I've got for y'all. But if you have any questions that pop into your head afterwards, of course, just ask in chat like normal. Um, and yeah, that's it. So, thanks for attending, and glad to talk to y'all.